listener to tonight's tranquil journey with Sunken Harmonies of the Choral Key. Before we begin to explore the story of Seraphina, a reclusive musician who discovers a magical instrument on a vibrant coral reef, we'll first take a few moments to settle in with a simple breathing practice. If you'd prefer to jump straight into the story, feel free to skip ahead to the chapter timestamps provided in the video description. There, you can find the specific start times of each chapter. However, if you wish to allow the body to slow down, this breathing guidance will help ease you into a state of peaceful relaxation, setting the perfect tone for our tale of gentle melodies and calming seas. So, let's begin by finding a comfortable position, allowing your body to feel fully supported by your bed or chair. Gently adjust your pillow, your blankets, anything that you need to adjust to ensure a cozy and peaceful setting. Allow yourself to just let go, release the day, and sink fully into the moment. This is your time to simply listen and let this journey wash over you. Feel the stillness, the calm, and let's allow our minds to slow down with our breath. Now, let's take a deep, soothing breath together. Gently inhale through your nose, feeling the cool air enter your lungs like a soft wave washing through your entire body. Allow this breath to flow naturally and easily without any force. Then, slowly exhale through your mouth as if you are letting go of a gentle sigh of relief. Feel your body softening with every breath you take, the tension melting away with each soft exhale. Imagine that you are breathing with the rhythm of the sea. Each inhale a gentle swell, and each exhale the soft retreat of the tide. If your mind happens to drift, that is quite alright. Just acknowledge each passing thought, and gently let it float by like a feather carried on a soft breeze. Now slowly bring your focus back to the gentle rhythm of your breath and to the sound of my voice. There is absolutely nothing you need to do now except simply relax and allow the soothing story to slowly carry you towards sleep, allowing yourself to be guided through this gentle world of magic and melodies. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Whispers of the Reef. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in hues of lavender and soft coral as Seraphina made her way down to the beach. The air, still warm from the day, carried the gentle scent of salt and distant blossoms. She paused at the edge of the sand, her bare toes sinking into its soft embrace. Her small, weathered hut nestled amongst the palm trees above, now glowed with a single light, a comforting beacon in the approaching twilight. She'd always found solace in the rhythm of the tides. Today, the sea was unusually still, a mirror reflecting the pastel sky. There had been a storm that morning, a brief flurry of wind and rain, which had stirred the ocean before quickly receding. This had exposed the far reef to her gaze, and something in its silhouette had drawn her in. She found it oddly inviting. So, with the sun beginning to settle, she pulled her worn canvas bag around her shoulder and slowly made her way down to the water. With deliberate, gentle steps, she waded into the water, the coolness seeping in, soothing her skin. She was now in a section of the beach she rarely traversed. This was further to the left, where the reef had become partially exposed during low tide. The coral was a spectrum of muted colours, soft greens, earthy browns, and gentle pinks, all dulled and softened with the salty brine. She moved carefully over the slick rocks and through shallow pools, her gaze fixed on the shipwreck that had come to rest amidst the reef. It lay half submerged, partially cloaked in seaweed, yet the wood still held a dark, rich Englishman never travelled this far out to sea, and the stories she had been told said nothing of wrecks along this coastline. Approaching slowly, she could make out a small opening on one side, an entryway that time had not yet reclaimed. With a deep breath, she plunged into the water, the sudden coolness enveloping her entirely, but quickly she began to move forward. She gently pushed through the ship, moving any loose debris from her path. The interior was dark, but she could make out the forms of scattered crates and remnants of a wooden bench. And there it lay, near the back of the craft, an instrument unlike anything she had ever seen. It was shaped like a lute, but made from smooth dark wood and polished pearlescent shell. The shell shimmered with an inner light, its edges glowing with a muted luminosity. It seemed almost to breathe in the semi-darkness. She reached out a tentative hand and gently lifted it from the sea floor. The instrument was surprisingly light, and she could feel a strange energy that tingled at her fingertips. She ran a careful finger along the smooth carved details, the intricate patterns etched into the wood. There was a strange draw to this object, almost as if it was humming with an inner life. This was not of the water, but of the depths. With the instrument cradled carefully in her arms, she began her trek back to shore, her steps slow and deliberate. Each step brought her closer to her small hut, closer to the light, and closer to the secrets of the sea. The water was now even calmer, the waves gently rocking her with each step. The soft sound accompanied her, promising a tranquil night's sleep ahead, along with the mysterious melodies that lay hidden within her new discovery. Chapter 2. Melodies from the Deep. Back in her hut, the lantern cast a warm glow as Seraphina carefully placed the instrument on her small wooden table. She ran a soft cloth over its surface, polishing the shell and dark wood until they gleamed. As she worked, she noticed tiny, intricate carvings that seemed to shift and shimmer in the lamplight. They resembled swirling patterns of water and stylized depictions of sea creatures, a visual language that felt both ancient and deeply resonant. With a soft breath, Seraphina gently tightened the strings of the instrument. They were made of a material she couldn't quite place. They were fine and smooth and felt like polished living thread. The strings vibrated with the smallest touch, emitting a delicate, almost silent hum that seemed to resonate within her very bones. She took a moment to listen to the subtle vibrations, allowing herself to settle into a sense of calm. Hesitantly, she plucked a single string. The sound that emerged was ethereal, a soft, melancholic melody that seemed to weave itself into the quiet of the night. It was unlike any sound she'd ever heard from a stringed instrument. It resonated deeply, with a vibration that rippled through the air like water. Seraphina plucked another string, then another, allowing the notes to intermingle and blend. It felt as though the instrument was an extension of her own heart. The notes danced in the air around her, each one resonating with a subtle shift in her own mood. As she played, she noticed a warmth spread through her chest, a feeling of gentle contentment that she hadn't felt in many years. The notes of her playing wove a blanket of calm around her, inviting her to let her worries go. She realized she had been holding on to a lot. She began to explore the various tones the instrument could create, slowly discovering its nuances and subtleties. She found that playing faster, more intricate patterns made the melodies dance and leap, while slower, more deliberate strums created a feeling of profound peace. She closed her eyes, allowing herself to be carried by the music, feeling as though the instrument was both responding to and guiding her hands. A memory suddenly surfaced, sharp and piercing, a fragment waves she had tried to forget. The sounds shifted beneath her fingers, losing their softness. She opened her eyes and looked at the instrument. The luminous shell seemed dim, as if it was mirroring her own internal unease. The music became a deeper sound, edged with pain and loss, and she realized that the melodies were mirroring her own emotional energy. With a concerted effort, she took a deep, calming breath. She slowly shifted her focus, attempting to redirect the music to a more peaceful place. She gently moved her hands over the strings, letting go of that pain. She replayed the initial, calming melody. Slowly, she could feel her heart begin to settle once again. The instrument resonated, mirroring her internal harmony, and the luminescent shell seemed to respond to her calmness, growing softer in the light. She realized that this instrument was more than just wood and shell. It was a conduit for emotions, both hers and the very feelings of the sea itself. She knew in that moment that this instrument had a purpose, that it wasn't just some relic she had happened upon. It was a gift, a tool, a calling that she must explore, and as the moon bathed her heart in a soft, silvery light, she knew she was ready to follow where it led. One gentle note at a time, as she continued to play, the soft melody filled the hut, a soothing balm for her restless spirit. Each note was like a gentle wave washing over her, carrying away the fragments of the day's anxieties. As she slowly felt her eyelids begin to droop, she allowed the music to guide her into a deep and restful slumber, where she found herself once again surrounded by the calmness of the ocean. Chapter 3. The Sea's Unease. The morning sun rose gently, casting a warm, golden light across the beach as Seraphina stepped out of her hut. The air was crisp, carrying the fresh scent of the sea and the delicate fragrance of blooming hibiscus flowers. She clutched the instrument close to her chest, a soft, familiar weight. She moved down towards the shore, a curious mix of anticipation and trepidation filling her heart. She wanted to understand the power of the instrument she now held. She settled herself upon the sand, near where the waves gently lapped at the shoreline, the white sand cool beneath her. She took a deep, calming breath, allowing herself to become attuned to the rhythm of the sea. Closing her eyes, she started to play, allowing her fingers to move across the strings without conscious thought. She played the soft melody she had found the night before, that calming tune that had eased her so readily into sleep. The sound seemed to call into the ocean as the waves gently moved in and out, as if they were moving in time with the music. A soft, comforting harmony filled the space between her and the sea. As she continued to play, Seraphina noticed something curious. She shifted the pace of her playing, the tempo increasing and changing, faster, more frenzied patterns starting to weave into the tune. She wanted to know just how the music would affect the natural world. As the tempo increased, she noticed the waves responded, beginning to grow in size and intensity. They crashed harder against the shoreline, the water now moving with a chaotic, restless energy. The soft, lapping sounds had now morphed into louder crashes, the rhythmic flow now disturbed by the new, almost angry tones. The clear turquoise water seemed to darken and swell beneath her gaze. Alarmed by the sudden shift in the sea's mood, Seraphina stopped playing abruptly. The crashing waves slowly began to subside. She felt a sense of awe and responsibility as she realized the instrument's direct influence on the natural world. The ocean seemed to mirror the very emotions within her music, a connection that was both beautiful and a little daunting. It was a tool, she now understood, that could create both beauty and disturbance. She decided to try again. this time choosing a slower, more somber melody, the notes flowing like gentle streams through the open air. As she played, the waves gradually became calmer. The water turned transparent once more, with barely a ripple across its surface. It was a stark contrast to its previous state, and a direct representation of the music's power. The sea seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, finding calm once more. She took a moment to observe her surroundings, noticing the shift in the atmosphere as the waves slowly subsided. A sense of profound wonder washed over her as she began to understand the intricate relationship between the instrument and the sea. It wasn't just about playing notes, it was about attuning herself to the rhythm of the ocean and to the balance of the natural world. As she continued to experiment, she noticed some of the islanders beginning to gather at the edge of the beach. They stood silently, watching her with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. They looked at the water with concern, almost fear, and Seraphina knew that they had noticed the change in the waves. They were clearly afraid of the power of the ocean, and she began to feel responsible for the part she had played in that. With a gentle nod to the onlookers, she softly started to play again, the music resonating a deep sense of peace. The melody was smooth and calming, the notes flowing with a slow and even tempo. She knew with certainty that she had begun a journey, a path that required a careful hand and a compassionate heart. The instrument's power was undeniable, and she had to find the balance, not only within the music, but within herself. Chapter 4. Echoes of the Islanders. The days that followed settled into a gentle rhythm. Seraphina continued to practice her music on the beach, carefully observing the subtle shifts in the sea's behaviour. She began to understand that the instrument responded not just to the notes she played, but also to her intention and the emotional energy that accompanied the music. She played with purpose, always careful to find a balanced state, a place of harmony with the sea. Old man K.L., the elder fisherman who had been present at the shore, approached her one afternoon, his eyes holding a mixture of curiosity and a quiet wisdom. He didn't speak much, but his presence felt calming, and Seraphina felt comfortable as he sat beside her. He had a weathered face that told many stories, his gaze calm and his hands gnarled from many years at sea. He sat silently for a time, listening to the notes as they drifted out over the water. Finally, with a soft voice, he spoke. He asked Seraphina about the instrument, its origins, and how she had come to find it. Seraphina explained her journey to the reef and how she had discovered the shipwreck, showing him the instrument and its unique form. Kale listened intently, his eyes fixed on the intricate carvings that adorned the wood and pearlescent shell. It was clear he knew of something related to the unique object in her hands. He shared the old legends of the island, stories of a time when a community known as the Siren's Respite lived in harmony with the sea. They had been a peaceful people, attuned to the ocean's rhythms, and they used music to maintain balance and tranquility. He told Seraphina of an instrument that was spoken of within those ancient tales, an instrument that held the same qualities as the one she possessed. Gale explained that the Siren's Respite had been a place of great peace and abundance until a terrible storm had ravaged their island, swallowing the land beneath the ocean waves. It was believed by the islanders that their disappearance was linked to their connection with the sea, that they were somehow swallowed by its immense power. The islanders carried with them the fear that this would happen to them too one day. He believed that the instrument Seraphina had found was a relic of that time, a piece of the past that had resurfaced to bring balance back to the island. He told was said to be able to calm the sea and the hearts of those that lived around it if they only knew how to use it. This would provide the respite they all so desperately needed and they all secretly wished for. He spoke of the instrument's ability to resonate with emotions and how she had to remain balanced to channel its power in the right way. It was a tool for healing and for peace, but it could also become an amplifier for unrest if misused. It was important, he told her, to never lose herself in the music. It must always come from a place of calm intention. This was the key to using its power correctly. Seraphina listened to Kale's stories with a sense of wonder and a growing understanding. The weight of responsibility seemed to settle upon her shoulders, as she now knew that she had a purpose beyond her own healing, a responsibility to the community around her. This was the instrument's design. It was meant to be used to care for those around her. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the beach, Seraphina thanked Old Man Kale for his wisdom. She knew that her journey was far from over, and now had a deeper understanding of her path and her connection to the island, its people, and the depths of the sea. She knew that the music was to be a source of peace, a beacon of hope in the face of their fears, and she felt more connected to it than ever before. Chapter 5. Harmonious Resolve. The moon hung high in the inky sky, casting a soft, silvery light across the beach as Seraphina made her way towards the shore. The island community had gathered, their faces illuminated by the gentle glow of lanterns they had brought with them. She could see the quiet hope in their eyes, their posture slightly more at ease. There was an expectation in the air, a collective desire for peace, and Seraphina knew what she must do. She settled herself onto the sand, her bare feet sinking into the cool surface. The sea was calm, its surface reflecting the starry sky like a vast, dark mirror. She took a deep, steady breath, allowing the rhythm of the waves to guide her focus. Her heart felt calm, filled with compassion for those gathered before her, and she knew that she had found her balance. She raised the instrument to her lips and gently started to play. The notes that emerged were smooth, flowing like a gentle stream. The melody was soft, yet powerful, resonating with a profound sense of peace and tranquility. It was an intentional sound, made to resonate with the very nature of the ocean. The music seemed to weave itself into the fabric of the night, its soothing tones enveloping the islanders like a warm embrace. The lanterns flickered gently, casting a soft, dancing light on their faces. The community watched, their faces filled with wonder as the melody worked its magic. As Seraphina continued to play, she focused her intention on healing and balance. She allowed the music to flow through her, becoming a conduit for the energy of peace that was beginning to bloom within her. She found herself lost within the notes, each one resonating within her, and then out towards the ocean. This was her offering. This was her purpose. The waves responded to the music, their movement becoming more gentle and measured. The chaos that had been there before was now gone, replaced by a serene, calming flow. The sea seemed to exhale, its surface becoming smooth and still. The water was clear once more, the gentle sound washing across the beach, and the islanders began to breathe easy. A profound sense of calm began to permeate the atmosphere, a feeling of serenity and hope washing over those gathered. The tension that had gripped the island community seemed to dissolve away, replaced by a collective sense of relief and deep peace. She watched their faces, knowing she had helped them let go of their fear, and this brought a deep sense of fulfillment. The final notes of the melody faded into the night, sense of quiet contentment in their wake. Seraphina lowered the instrument, her hands resting lightly on her lap. The Unease began to slowly disperse, their faces reflecting the inner peace that had taken root within them. The fear had subsided, and in its place was a profound sense of calm. Seraphina knew that she had found her place on Coral Key. She was the keeper of the instrument and its melodies, a conduit for harmony and balance, a guardian of peace. With a gentle smile, she turned to the sea, now calm and still,